Hi, my name is Gina Consalvo. I'm a registered dietitian and also the owner of Eat Well with Gina Nutrition Counseling. I had the privilege of speaking at Bethlehem VegFest earlier today, and I wanted to make a video to share the information that I had provided during my talk. Today we're going to be talking about 5 nutrition myths surrounding a vegan diet. The first myth we're going to talk about, I think, is the most common when thinking about a vegan diet. Myth number 1, you can't get enough protein without eating meat. I often wonder why it's so commonly thought that we need to eat meat in order to get the nutrients that the animals are getting from eating plants. We do not need to eat meat in order to get protein. Actually, all the nutrients that we need are plant-based. By getting our protein directly from plants rather than indirectly through animals, we are skipping the added saturated fat, cholesterol, and lactose, and instead choosing protein sources that are rich in vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and fiber. We need protein in our diet because protein helps with cell division and repair, as well as aids in hormone and immunity production. In our society, we tend to push protein powders, protein shakes, protein bars. The more protein, the better. However, we don't need such an abundance of protein. The World Health Organization only recommends that 10 to 15% of our daily calories come from protein, which is pretty insignificant when you think about it. Only 10 to 15% of our daily calories. The recommended daily intake for a healthy individual is 0.8 to 1 gram per kilogram body weight. That means a healthy person who weighs 130 pounds only needs about 60 grams of protein per day. Plant sources of protein include legumes like lentils, beans, and peas, soy foods like edamame, tofu, and tempeh, meat substitutes like your veggie burgers and plant-based crumbles, seitan, quinoa, and nuts and seeds. Now, you may have heard that some plant sources of protein are incomplete proteins, or they're missing one of the essential amino acids. There are 9 essential amino acids that we need to get through our food because our bodies cannot produce them. All plant-based sources of protein contain all 9 of these essential amino acids. However, they may be low in one or more of them. For instance, legumes are low in methionine, and grains are low in lysine, compared to a more complete protein like quinoa. In the past, nutrition experts thought that it was best to combine different plant foods at meals to try to create those complete proteins. Since legumes and grains have complementary strengths and weaknesses in their essential amino acid profile, eating them together would create that complete protein. Sometimes this happens naturally through our food choices, like when we have rice and beans, or peanut butter on toast, or lentil soup with bread, hummus on pita, but there's no need for us to be consciously trying to combine plant foods at meals to create those complete proteins. Our bodies are really smart and maintain a reserve pool of amino acids for use throughout the day. So if you're having some black beans at dinner and need a little extra methionine, your body can pull that from its reserve pool from the toast that you had with breakfast. To meet your daily protein needs, you only need about 3 to 4 servings of protein-rich food sources per day. A serving of protein would be half a cup of tofu, tempeh, or beans, a 1/4 cup of soy nuts, peanuts, pistachios, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, or a cup of soy milk or quinoa. Of the starchy foods, quinoa, potatoes, and pasta have the most protein. Almonds and pistachios have the most protein out of your nuts, and broccoli, spinach, and corn are the most protein-rich vegetables. 3 servings of protein to meet your needs for the day could look like having 2 tablespoons of peanut butter on toast for breakfast, having a 1/4 cup of pistachios as a snack, and having a cup of quinoa with dinner. Some other protein-packed meals could be having oatmeal with soy milk, a cup of quinoa with a 1/2 cup of tofu and a cup of cooked spinach, a baked potato with a 1/2 cup black beans and a cup of broccoli, or pasta with mixed broccoli and cauliflower and a 1/2 cup of white beans. So it's definitely a myth that you need to eat meat in order to get enough protein. As long as you're following a vegan diet that is varied in your food choices, you'll have no problem at all meeting your daily protein needs. Myth number 2, you won't get enough iron and become anemic. So just like with protein, it's often thought that meat is the only way that we can get iron, but this is not true. Iron is an essential mineral that helps our red blood cells transport oxygen throughout our body. It also aids in energy production as well as assists in the maintenance of the immune and central nervous system. There are 2 types of iron that we get through our food sources. Heme iron we get from our animal sources, and non-heme iron we get from both plant and animal foods. Heme iron is more bioavailable, meaning that it's more vitally absorbed in our body. However, when it comes to being used on a cellular level, it doesn't matter which source of iron we're taking in. Iron-rich food sources would include your legumes like black beans, lentils, chickpeas, your soy foods like soybeans and tofu, fortified grains, your fortified meat analogs, all of your seeds, nuts like cashews, almonds, Brazil nuts, and pine nuts, your amaranth and quinoa, as well as some of your vegetables like mushrooms, peas, dark green leafy vegetables, your string beans, and some dried fruits like apricots, raisins, currants, and prunes. 3 ounces of beef has 1.3 milligrams of iron, where 1 cup of soy milk has 1.6 milligrams of iron. It's pretty comparable, but the soy milk actually has a little bit more iron. Half a cup of spinach and a half a cup of lentils actually both have more than twice the amount of iron than is in 3 ounces of beef. And my personal favorite is that 1 ounce of dark chocolate has 3 times the amount of iron than in 3 ounces of beef. So it's definitely a myth that you need to consume meat in order to get enough iron. There's ample amounts of plant-based food sources that would provide you with plenty of iron. Now, there are some factors that will affect iron absorption. Vitamin C and cast iron cookware will both increase iron absorption, where phytates, tannins, calcium and zinc supplements, and antacids will decrease iron absorption. By adding vitamin C rich foods like strawberries, citrus fruits, cabbage, cauliflower, tomatoes, you can increase iron absorption by 2 to 3 times. And by cooking in cast iron cookware, you can increase iron absorption by up to 16 times, which is pretty significant. Now, phytates, like that are found in wheat bran, can decrease iron absorption by 90%. Tannins, like in green tea, black tea, and coffee, can decrease iron absorption by 50 to 90%. And calcium and zinc supplements also interfere. So if you're taking a calcium and zinc supplement, take it at a separate time than an iron-rich food, and definitely at a different time if you're also on an iron supplement. Antacids, they can be detrimental because they lower the acidity in your stomach, which is needed for the proper iron absorption. Now, when it comes to the phytates and tannins, there is good news. Vitamin C can counteract phytates and tannins by breaking their bond with iron. So you should have no problem with absorption, as well as you're also having some vitamin C rich foods in your diet. Some iron and vitamin C combinations would be your oatmeal with some sliced strawberries, brown rice with steamed broccoli, lentil soup and tomatoes, black beans with some yellow and red bell peppers. Having pasta with tomato sauce and chili is also an excellent example of that vitamin C and iron combo. Now the next myth, we're going to talk about another mineral. Myth number 3, you need to consume dairy to get enough calcium. So despite what the dairy industry wants you to believe, you do not need to consume dairy in order to get enough calcium or to maintain strong bones. Calcium is a mineral, just like iron, and we get minerals from the ground, from the soil. Cows don't naturally contain calcium or make calcium. They get their calcium from eating grass. And the cows that aren't fed grass get their calcium from being fed a fortified or supplemented feed. Well, we can supplement our feed and skip the cow, or even better, we could go directly to the plant source and get more calcium from eating more bok choy and kale. There are plenty of plant-based foods that provide ample amount of calcium while skipping the added saturated fat and cholesterol that's found in dairy. It's recommended for adults under the age of 50 to consume 1,000 milligrams of calcium per day, and for those over 50, that amount increases to 1,200 milligrams per day. Good sources of calcium would include tahini, blackstrap molasses, your fortified beverages like orange juice and your fortified non-dairy milks, some of your dark leafy greens like turnip greens, collard greens, kale, bok choy, mustard greens, and broccoli, as well as your almonds, soybeans, and tempeh. 3 ounces of tofu and 3/4 cup of collard greens actually both have more calcium than in 1 cup of cow's milk. Calcium absorption also plays a major role in how well the mineral is utilized in our body. Cow's milk has a calcium absorption rate of about 30%. Bok choy, mustard, turnip, collard greens, and kale have a calcium absorption rate of about 40%, and broccoli is even better with a calcium absorption rate of 61%. Now, you will see that there are some dark leafy greens that have a lower absorption rate of less than 20%. That would be your spinach, Swiss chard, and beet greens. They have a lower calcium absorption rate because they are high in oxalates, and the oxalates bind with calcium, inhibiting the absorption. But as long as you're getting a varied intake of your other dark leafy greens and from those other calcium-rich foods that we talked about, you'll have no problem reaching your needs. To meet your daily calcium needs, you could have 2 tablespoons of almond butter with breakfast, a cup of soy milk with a 1/4 cup of almonds as your snack, and then 4 ounces of tofu with a cup of quinoa and a cup of broccoli for dinner. You could also meet your needs by having 3 servings of dark leafy greens with a cup of soy milk and a 300 to 500 milligram supplement. But remember, if you are choosing to go the supplement route, calcium is best absorbed in amounts of 500 milligrams or less. Myth number 4. You need to eat fish to get enough omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3s are considered essential because our bodies cannot make them, so we need to get them through our food sources. Omega-3s have anti-inflammatory properties, so they help to reduce our risk of cardiovascular disease and diabetes. There are 2 types of omega-3s. There's long-chain omega-3 fatty acids known as EPA and DHA, and short-chain omega-3s known as alpha-linoleic acid or ALA. Though beneficial, ALA fatty acids have less potent health benefits than EPA and DHA. We often hear that we need to eat fish in order to get these omega-3s. However, this is not true. Fish don't naturally contain omega-3s. They get them from eating microalgae. So we could skip the fish and go directly to the plant. If fish can get their EPA and DHA from plant foods, or from algae, so can we. Good sources of omega-3s include walnuts, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, flax, chia seeds, soy oil, flaxseed oil, and canola oil. Just 7 walnut halves will meet your daily needs of omega-3s. Flax is the richest source of omega-3, and just 1 tablespoon of ground flax seeds will fulfill your daily recommended intake of omega-3s. And unlike with fish, your risk of consuming toxins like mercury and lead are essentially 0 when consuming flax. Supplements are also available to help meet your omega-3 needs. You could take a 200 to 300 milligram DHA and EPA supplement from an algae source 2 to 3 times a week or daily for those over 60. Myth number 5. All vegans are vitamin B12 deficient. Vitamin B12 is needed for DNA production as well as for maintaining nerve cells. B12 also has heart health protective cardiac properties because it can help lower homocysteine levels in our blood, which is good because elevated homocysteine levels can increase our risk for heart disease and stroke. Now, it is true that vitamin B12 is not plant-based. However, it's also not animal-based. It's actually a vitamin that's grown on bacteria. So the reason why we can get B12 through our animal sources is because It's grown on the bacteria in the animal's intestines or through their food. While it's also true that many vegans are vitamin B12 deficient, it's not a problem only for vegans. Many meat eaters also have to supplement their intake of B12, and it's actually recommended that all individuals over the age of 50 consume vitamin B12 fortified foods or take a supplement. Since there are no reliable plant sources of vitamin B12, it's important to meet your needs by having 2 to 3 servings of fortified foods per day or by taking a supplement. Those 2 to 3 servings of fortified foods could be your fortified grains and cereals, meat analogs, fortified non-dairy milks like rice milk, almond milk, soy milk, and fortified nutritional yeast. Supplements are also available in liquid, tablet, and injectable form. If you're choosing a tablet, choose one that's chewable to help increase the vitamin's absorption. A good amount would be 25 to 100 micrograms per day or 1,000 micrograms per week. So I hope I was able to debunk some common nutrition myths surrounding the vegan diet and help you feel a bit more confident about getting your nutrients through a plant-based, more compassionate way of eating. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me through my website. Thank you.